So I was sitting there last night and I thought, I'm just going to wait till we get the podcast going today to talk about, what happens when your cars crash into each other. Noah and Justin Allgaier racing for the win at Bristol. And Justin had been doing really well all race long, leading a lot of laps.
150 laps.
And Noah had been doing equally as well as far as his speed and so forth, passed a lot of cars. And both of them are sitting there with a shot to win at the end. Now, Justin has the lead. They get a restart. Justin goes down in the corner. He missed the bottom and opened up the opportunity for Noah to get to his inside. And Justin has admitted that's his first mistake that he wished he would have never made. He allowed Noah – if he doesn't allow Noah to get there, I think Justin wins the race. But he slipped up out of the sticky stuff, out of the traction compound, and Noah was able to fill that hole, and now they're side by side. They ran a corner or two, however many, it doesn't really matter. They ran a lap almost before contact, and my initial reaction as soon as it's happening was anger, frustration with the fact that Noah got loose and got into Justin, and now Justin's not only going to not win the race, but he's going to finish terribly, right? He's crashing. And so that's the right as it's happening, that's like the first flash in your mind is, damn it, Noah, now we're screwed, right? Now Justin's screwed, and now you've got it, and then a switch will flip immediately in seconds, and your mind goes to, Noah, you better win this race.
Right.
Noah, if you lose this race now, you've opened up the opportunity for all of us to sit you down and say, what in the hell were you thinking? The only way that he can, and it's not really that winning's going to make this right, but the only way he can come out of this with any kind of argument is to win. And he goes and wins. Okay? And so he's sitting there winning and standing on his car and doing what he's doing. And I'm sitting there thinking in my mind, man, how do I feel about this? So Noah just won Bristol. I can't take that away from him. I don't want to take that away from him. And I don't want him – I'm trying to put myself in Noah's shoes. Like, I don't want to take away the joy or the happiness that Noah's feeling, that his team is feeling. I don't want to minimize it. I don't want Noah to think that he has made this cardinal sin or if you have race cars on the racetrack and multiple cars on the racetrack, at times they are going to race each other. And sometimes when they race each other, they do crash into each other. It's inevitable. It's impossible to avoid. You don't want it to happen. You never want it to happen, but it's going to happen. And there's nothing that I could say. In fact, I've tried to figure out what to say to Justin, and I just can't come up with anything that would make a difference or help him feel better. There's nothing I could say to Justin in that moment or beyond that will fix it. He has to go to the next race and try to redeem himself. I mean, if I'm a race car driver and I feel like that I've been wronged or I made a mistake or I didn't get the finish that I deserved, I need to get to the next race immediately and fix it. Get that fit, get that result.
Yeah.
And so, while Noah's sitting there doing his celebration and all, I'm just, and even hours and on beyond that, I reached out to Noah and I said, hey, celebrate this win, be proud of it. Next time you're in that situation, try not to crash your teammate. Try to do it clean. And that's all I can ask him to do. Now, if this is something that continues, if he disregards my advice, it will change from being advice to a demand, and then we're going to have a real problem. But until it becomes a problem, at this particular point, it's just hard racing that might have crossed a few lines, and sometimes in racing, particularly at short tracks like Bristol, those are crossed all night long. We watched guys beating and banging in that race, and it was a great race to watch. We saw the Cup guys are getting aggressive with each other as well. So it wasn't sort of out of the ordinary. It's just unfortunate. That's the toughest part of being an owner, in my mind, is when your two cars are racing for the lead.
Right. Bristol, no less. I mean,
we've had years where we've been down, not even competitive. Those are not fun. But I think the hardest thing to stomach is that one of your guys is going to be disappointed while the other is celebrating. So you are literally torn in half as to how to feel. This happened also at Homestead a couple of times. We're sitting there racing for the championship. For example, William Byron and Elliott Sadler.
Elliott Sadler. Yep.
Here I am thinking, man, Elliott Sadler is finally going to be able to put the period at the end of the sentence in his career with a championship. Something that he just needs this so badly. And it wasn't to be. William Byron wins the championship. That's equally as amazing for me. But half of me is in the dumps because of Elliott not able to secure something that was elusive and that he really wanted, and time was running out for him to acquire. And then the other half of me is elated for William because I've been part of his journey. He came and raced late models with us, went to race trucks for Kyle, and then he was going to move on from us and go race for Rick Hendrick. And we were helping in that process. So that's going to happen in racing. I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have. It's not really a good problem to have, but there's a lot worse things going on, as Justin Allgaier said. And Justin took that opportunity to reflect and compose himself and move on to the next event.
He always does. Such a professional.
He is. He's a professional. And I knew that is probably the maddest that I think I've ever seen him. And, like he always does, he pulled himself together. And I'm sure he had a lot of thoughts and comments and emotions to direct toward Noah, which he may. And I told Noah, I said, look, you're going to have to work really, really hard to repair that relationship with Justin if he chooses to do that. So, that's the other thing I think a lot of people maybe don't know well enough is that although they are teammates and although you do want them to work really well together, they haven't known each other for very long. They haven't been fast friends for years and racing each other up through the ranks. And you're going to get teammates, not that Noah and Justin are like this. You're going to get teammates that don't see eye to eye, don't get along, right? But hopefully they can work it out. I'll tell you though, if they want to continue to get aggressive and they're racing up front and having great years, I don't know how much I don't know how much involvement I'll have in trying to micromanage their decisions on the racetrack. So there's been some times where we've had to step in with Noah this year where he's made some mistakes. And, for example, at Vegas, spinning Myatt on the straightaway and all that. And we'll continue to do that with Noah and try to help him become a better race car driver. Right. But, when they're racing like that, I don't know that I can step in there and say, you need to change this and you need to change that. I would just challenge Noah to do it cleanly next time and not to make that mistake. How you feel?
I feel as conflicted as you do. I also wonder about the crew chiefs and the dynamics down that hallway because we got two awesome crew chiefs, Dave Ellens and Jason Burdett, that have worked well for each other. I like the complexities that go into that. Team frictions you worry about because those old team guys now.
They get competitive.
And so there's a lot of ramifications that could come into something like that, especially when you both have a chance to win. And everybody, wins are there's a premium on them, man. You got to win. And so, it ain't easy is I guess my point, which is just reaffirming what you're saying. I find it interesting that you have this. I find it interesting that you were feeling a need to console Allgaier and coming up empty, because what do you say to a guy like that? What do you say? Get him next time. I mean, that doesn't do it. And then you're going to say sorry because it ain't your fault.
I can't look Justin in the face and tell him that I'm unhappy with how we won.
Right.
I don't like, but I can't look at Justin in the face and lie to him and say, I'm disappointed in Noah for winning that race. I mean, if that's anybody else on the racetrack, I'm like, good job, Noah. Who cares who got put in the fence? It was our car. So, I'm split in half about it.